Hello there, and welcome back to another video of the TI4 browser. In today's video, we're going to be going over some UI updates that include some peripheral tools to the app. We'll also be going over a bug fix brought to our attention by one of our Discord users. And finally, we'll be going over some quality of life changes for players of the app. So I have a pre-prepared game here, and I'll jump into it to demo these things. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice with this new change is if you look at the top of the screen, there is no turn display or button overlay. And this is because if I direct your attention to the bottom of the screen, we can now see a toolbar here where this information has been moved to. So the turn indicators remains the same, and then to the bottom right we can see the trade display with some new UI, but the functionality remains the same. Player info tab is the same, the game logs are the same. We have a couple of new peripheral feature icons. And the first one I'll go over is a highly requested feature, and that is a note-taking application. So if we click on this, and you can see it is the note-taking feature by the little notepad here, or rather a sticky note icon. So, excuse me. So if we click it, we can see we have a little note area here, where first of all we can see that we have a 1000 character limit, an autosave feature, and an area where we're being prompted to enter our notes. So if we click here, we can enter any notes we think pertain to this instance of the game, or really anything actually. This feature was highly requested because a few of our users have quite a number of games going, and I think even just in the case of having one game going, it's really useful to be able to make your own personal notes here on perhaps if, let's say, someone might have offered you a trade in the past and you want to keep track of it, or just things that happened in previous turns or certain strategies you might want to do in the future. So I can demonstrate this. Perhaps I want to make researching PDS2 one of my priorities. And you can see here the autosave. Perhaps eventually I want to save trade goods for objective. And maybe even just, whatever. It could even be silly things. So what we can see here now is if we close this notes, it'll persist. And even if we were to refresh the browser here, we'll see that our notes are indeed saved here. So that's a really nice feature here that I think is a great addition to the toolbar. To the left of the note-taking app, we have this home icon, which you might guess the functionality of it is that it'll take us back to our user profile. And this was something that was requested, especially by people who install the app directly on browser or through your phone, where you don't have the back button, especially if you access the game through a notification. There's no memory of a back button to get to this page. So rather than have to reload the app now, you can just click that home button, which is really nice. So that's the updates to the peripheral features in the toolbar down here. All right. Next, I'm just going to talk about a bug fix, which is that previously with the implementation of the undo button, We missed the case where if ceasefire was played, it was still possible for the active player to undo their system activation, which obviously we don't want. So thanks to one of our Discord users, I believe it was Brains. Sorry if I'm misidentified here, but yeah, so thanks for that. Having active playtesters and people who really care about the state of the app have been the most valuable resource to us. So I really can't express how much we appreciate you guys, and keep it up. Without all this feedback, we wouldn't have features like the note-taking app, the home button. It really does make for a better application as we go forward and continue to receive feedback. So thanks so much. But now if you do play ceasefire, that undo feature will no longer persist and everything should be working as intended. Alright, we have a couple of quality of life updates. The first is another recommendation from our Discord channel, and that is that in the space region for the units, we have now swapped the infantry with the fighter. So now the infantry model is right next to the enlarged hexagon, and this will make committing infantry to the planets in the active system a lot easier for our users, especially for those on mobile. So that's good. Now, I'm well aware that when we implement the Nalu, the fighters will be able to be committed to planets under niche circumstances, and so we'll probably swap out the carrier with the fighter when that time comes. Okay, the last thing I want to update you guys with in this video is during production or warfare secondary. I'll go to build units here, and previously this step has been a bit of a nuisance for new players and experienced players alike, in that if you make a miscalculation at any point, you would have to reset everything. So instead, what we've done here is made this piecemeal where you can increase and decrease selections as you go. So first, what you can see now is you can actually toggle planet cards just like in the agenda phase, which is really nice. When you select trade goods, click the trade good icon to increment, and click the counter now to decrement. So that's nice. Once you commit resources, as usual, you can click the unit cards to see the counters go up. For example, if I click the cruiser 3 times, you can now see that I have 3 cruisers queued up for production. If I miscalculate, what I can do is actually click the cruiser model to decrement. And the same works for other models as well. So this really gives us a more comfortable user experience. It will make production a little less painful here for the users to go through. So I believe that's everything that I wanted to go through here. And once again, I'd like to thank our user base for providing the feedback necessary to implement these changes. It's easy as developers to get comfortable in our own perception of the game, but when we see that a majority of users really prefer things, like as a developer, I don't really play many games at once. I'm currently maybe involved in one game, and so for me, it never really occurred to me to need a note-taking feature. But I know there are players who play, for example, over a dozen games at once, and for them, a note-taking feature is absolutely necessary, so they know what's going on in their games at a quick glance here. And so these things are very important to us as developers, and we want to continue to see this valuable feedback. So if you're new to this series, or this is the first time you're seeing the app, please go to the description down below and join our Discord, and any feedback is valuable to us. As well, if you subscribe to our content, that's the best way to keep up to date with what we're doing on the YouTube channel. You'll get updates there first as opposed to anywhere else. But that's it for this video. Happy to bring these new features to you guys. I hope you enjoy them, and we'll continue to bring you new content weekly and bi-weekly as we continue to move forward in developing the TI4 browser app. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.